Hello, welcome back to my kitchen. Today we're making key lime pie, which I realize these aren't key limes, they're just normal limes. So hopefully that doesn't affect anything. I don't know what the difference is. I assume that maybe key limes are a little bit more sweet than sour, but that will be information to pop up on the screen someplace. What we're doing today is making a extremely simple 4-ingredient key lime pie, because if you're a dedicated viewer, you'll know that 2 years ago for Pie Day, so it's actually a little bit over 2 years now, I made a key lime pie, and that was like a from scratch one, which I think I actually bought the pie crust for that one, which will probably be the same pie crust that I'm using today. But all the filling on that I made kind of like from scratch, versus this one is just gonna be like sweet condensed milk, cream cheese, and then lime juice and lime zest. Very simple, and that counts as the ingredients because, spoiler alert, I actually did all of the cooking already because it requires to set overnight. So I've actually done that yesterday, and so it's gonna be like, you know, in those cooking shows where they're like, and here we are, we're done. So I'm actually filming all of the talking stuff today so I can kind of just blast through all of that. Makes life a little easier, and also gives me the benefit of looking at things in hindsight, which for this recipe is pretty simple. So there's really not any pitfalls that you're gonna come across. However, in larger recipes, this will actually probably be a little bit more helpful if I kind of do this style. The downside is I usually have the ingredients sitting in front of me that I will then run through, but they're used already. I don't know how I'll handle this. Maybe just like have like clip art pop up on the screen and kind of do the same format, or maybe film all that ahead of time and then like do all the cooking stuff. We'll see how that goes. Stay tuned for how I problem solve, handle that. But today we're making key lime pie. I'm excited for it. I do realize that it's kind of, in essence, similar to what I did in the last video, where it's just like dairy and citrus. However, there was a reason for me doing this. The reason just doesn't actually exist because I thought that this recipe used the other remaining amount of heavy whipping cream that I needed from the video last week, and I was like, oh, this is perfect. Turns out it's a different recipe, which is, I think it's like a strawberry delight, like Jello layered salad kind of thing. I realize a lot of the open tabs that I have on my phone are desserts, because I don't usually make a whole lot of desserts for myself because I'm much more of a savory than a sweet person, and I live alone, so I have to eat all of this food. And I try to avoid making sweet things because that's just a lot of sugar that I'm gonna have to consume. I'll consume it, you know, don't worry about that, but I just try to avoid having that need there. I mean, it's summertime, we can go crazy a little bit, so there's gonna be a lot of dessert videos coming up, is how I think that's gonna kind of shake out. But hopefully you don't mind that, and I'm sure I won't mind it either. So we've already run through the ingredients, so why don't we get into cooking? So the first step for this no-bake key lime pie, which I don't think I mentioned, there's no baking involved, it's just gonna be mixing stuff together and then pop it in the fridge to set. We're gonna get some lime zest and juice. Now, as always with zesting, don't go crazy. We only wanna take off the kind of like top little layer that has the green color to it, because the white, I think it's called piss, I believe, below it is not good to eat. I believe has like a bitter taste to it. So just get this nice little top layer. So just kind of gently scrape it, turn it, scrape it, turn it. If you're holding it firm and moving back and forth multiple times, you're probably doing something wrong. I believe it's about 3 limes that I needed to get the actual half a cup. I did cut 4, so I just squeezed the last lime into like a cup and added some water and made some fake limeade, which is what I plan to do with the rest of these, because Costco, $2.99 for 3 pounds versus like the store was like $7 for the same amount. If you have a Costco membership, that's where you should get your limes. All right, let's get some juice and some zest, and then we'll get on to the next step. So for the next step, we just need a kind of big mixing bowl. We're gonna put the cream cheese in there, and then with a hand mixer, we're gonna mix that all up on high, kind of making it light and fluffy. It's not gonna get crazy light and fluffy like I was expecting, like whipped cream, kind of like light and fluffy, but it's just more of kind of aerated. So it's still fairly liquidy looking, or maybe I just didn't do it long enough. That's also a valid possibility. I don't believe the recipe has like times for like how long you should do it for, but I did scrape down the bowl a few times just to make sure that all of the cream cheese got mixed up and none of it was kind of still in that kind of like solid block form. But yeah, so hand mixer, do that for a few minutes, you're good to go. Next is to add in the sweetened condensed milk. So just pour that over, mix that all up again with the hand mixer. Easy peasy. So we're almost at the end of the filling part. So we're going to add in the juice and the zest from the limes and turn the hand mixer down to low and then kind of mix all of that up until it's fully incorporated. Last but not least, it's time to put the filling into the pie crust. So just kind of scrape out any remaining bits with a spatula and then use that spatula to smooth out the top of the pie crust, because you kind of want a level surface, make it look nice. And then you can either put that in the fridge or in the freezer. It says that like you're gonna get a little bit of textural differences. The fridge is gonna be a little bit more traditional, and then the fridge or the freezer is going to be, they describe it as more of like an ice cream kind of texture. And I personally like how key lime pie, like that texture normally is. So I went with the fridge. The downside is the fridge will take several hours, if not overnight, which is what I did. But the freezer, they said only should take about an hour. So I guess if you're in a rush, freezer might be a good move. But just for the texture that I like, I went with the fridge. But I don't know. I haven't tried the freezer texture, so maybe it's really good. If this comes out well, maybe I'll try it in the freezer again at some point, because it's super easy to make. So you can kind of whip this all up in a handful of minutes, and then it's just the letting it sit kind of process is going to take you a minute. So why don't we kind of get through this step, and then we're on to taste testing, which I am excited for. So I did forget to mention a little pro tip with making any kind of pie in a pie tin. If you have an actual pie dish, put it in the pie tin. If not, put it on a baking sheet beforehand, because pie tins are not that structurally sound. This one might be fine, but I know in the past I've had this issue with pumpkin pie where I tried to pick it up and the whole thing kind of tacos, and then you just have pie filling dumped everywhere. So pro tip, put it in a dish, even though like it's already obviously in a pie dish, but yeah, it just makes transporting so much easier, and then also structurally sound, so if something bumps into it, it doesn't just smush everything. Now, I mentioned that I wanted to use the heavy cream, but obviously this recipe doesn't call for it. You can put whipped cream on top of it. It'll make it look nice, hopefully, I don't know. What I wanna try is making whipped cream in a blender bottle. I usually do it by hand with like a bowl and a whisk, but I have a blender bottle, and I was like, I wonder if this will work. So we're gonna do a quick experiment, see if this will make whipped cream in the name of science. Just put a little bit in. Now make sure it's closed. Or, sir? Nope. There you go. Let's see if this works. Is it doing anything though? Ooh, it kind of is. Okay. I didn't think this through. Well, I usually use maple syrup, but we're gonna go with agave. A little bit of that in there. Some vanilla extract. All right. That's the blender ball being held up by the whipped cream. That works surprisingly well. I wonder what would happen in like larger quantities because I only put a little bit in there. Well, I'm very happy with that. Okay, so let's try and cut out a slice of this. And then we will put some of the whipped cream on top. Texture's pretty good. It is not a liquid, so that's always a positive. Getting a pie out though. Well, this piece ain't gonna be the one that I use for pictures because it's looking rough. Look at that. That worked really well. I'm happy. I'm happy about that because that has made my life a lot simpler because I only need to make small amounts for myself here and there. And this will do it quick. I feel like I just revolutionized the culinary world. All right, so let's give this a taste test and see how we did. So this key lime pie is so good. Like, I had the lowest of expectations because anything that's like 4 ingredient, I assume will be bland, not have the right texture, just be a vague shadow of what it's supposed to be. Because you're obviously cutting corners. You're not having some ingredients in there that are necessary to do something. But somehow, this works really well. Like, I guess it's the sweetness from the sweetened condensed milk, the kind of texture from the cream cheese, and the tartness from the lime. Like, I thought the lime was gonna be like in the distance, and it's just gonna be mostly like cream cheese flavor, and then you'd be like, with a hint of lime. But it's lime forward, like you get that kind of tart, little sweet from the lime, very strong in there. And then it's just a very smooth, kind of like silky texture. I'm just blown away. Like, it's really good. And it took almost no effort and just a bit of time in the fridge. Like, this is legit, like, no matter what your schedule is, if somebody's like, tomorrow I need a pie, I could make this. I mean, it's 11:30 right now. I don't know if the grocery store is open that I normally go to. I don't think it's a 24-hour one. But if it was like right about to be closing time and somebody's like, I need a pie tomorrow, I would not really feel put out if I had to make this, because me driving to the store would probably be the longest hands-on step in that process. I mean, just make it. It's so simple, it's so easy. Just do it and see what I'm talking about. Because this, like, it's almost seeing is, or I guess tasting is believing. Because it is really, or maybe I'm just tired and a little delusional, but that's really good. And I don't know what witchcraft they came up with to make this work so well, but it does. And like, I don't even like, will I ever make a normal key lime pie again? Maybe not. I don't know. I can't remember how long a key lime pie takes to make, but if it's at all difficult, this is the way to go. So I don't really have anything else to say besides make this. It's super simple. It's delicious. 10 out of 10. Like, it's great. All right. On that note, bye, Mom. Still not dead. See you.